Alright, so hello and welcome to the best views in Riga. I can't believe that I flew here for only £4.99, but anyway, I'd love it if you join me on my little vlog and exploring this beautiful city. Let's go. Alright, so starting off, I flew from my city, Newcastle upon Tyne. Part of the reason why the flights were so cheap was because I only had hand luggage. However, I wanted to bring my drone as well, so I thought I'd take my chances. But anyway, I'm going to show you my budget experience in the beautiful city of Riga, and at the end of this video I'll give you some tips on how you can get cheap flights too. So I arrive in Riga late at night and finally work out how to get on the bus. I'm on my way into Riga, where I'll be staying in a hostel for 4 nights, and I get my first glimpse of what's in store for tomorrow. But anyway, I arrive in my hostel and surprisingly have the whole room to myself, but it's around midnight and I'm starving, which means there's only one place to eat. So I eat McDonald's and finally get back to the hostel, ready for my first day in Riga. Day 1. Alright, so I've just got up. It's about 20 past 11. It's a bit late, but it's lovely and sunny outside. So let's get ready to explore. The weather was lovely, and this was the view from the hostel overlooking Dome Square, so I think that's first on the list today. Anyway, I head downstairs and I'm instantly greeted by interesting interior on the dimly lit staircase. Alright, so I've just got outside. I've got no data today, so it is going to be a case of just walking around and seeing where I end up and see what I can find. But look at this behind me. Looks absolutely stunning. Colourful buildings everywhere. Architecture is stunning, but anyway, let's just have a little wander, shall we? First on the list is Riga Doms, the cathedral, which is probably one of the most iconic sites in Latvia. Then I wander down one of the streets and find a little buggy thing and another church. This one's a Catholic church, and I decide to take a little look inside. It's getting renovated, but the brickwork looks pretty cool. Carrying on through the streets, I accidentally came across the Three Brothers, the oldest group of houses in Riga, ranging from the 15th century to the 17th century. The house on the right being originally built in 1490, which is just insane really. Although I have to admit I had no clue what they were when I first saw them. Anyway, we carry on through the interesting and colourful streets. I tell you what, it really is great walking down these streets. You've got nice colourful buildings like that, you've got all sorts of different designs. And then you've got buildings like this which look a bit run down, just all in the same street. It's absolutely crazy, and then stuff like that as well. Absolutely mad. And if I put the wide angle lens on, you can see at either end of the frame 2 beautiful churches, quite different in design. So I've wandered around in circles a few times now. I'm going to head down by the river. At the river I find a man in a box. I felt sorry for him, it must be pretty hot in there. But there's actually a pretty cool legend that this man, Big Christopher, used to carry people across the river and once rescued a crying child. When returning back to his cave, he found the child was gone and lots of gold was left, which was used to found the city of Riga. Anyway, I carry on along the river to where I can see Riga Castle, originally founded in 1330. But it's more scaffolding than fortress, to be honest. The lack of a castle look is probably due to the Swedish adding on annexes during the mid-17th century. And next, probably the most impressive site in Riga, I paid to get into the cathedral, only €3 for students. It's fair to say it was well worth it. Straight away you can see the interior is quite similar to the first church I went into, though also some beautiful stained glass windows. The main hall was grand and impressive, however I thought the organ was the highlight. The design and intricacy of it was stunning. It's no surprise it's regarded as one of the most valuable historical organs in the world. Before leaving, I take a look at the courtyard, which was partially fallen apart but still beautiful and offered some lovely views of the clock tower. Alright, so I just came out of the cathedral and I'm just walking down some of the side streets again. I straight away seen some really interesting buildings, but I've just spotted one down that way. That looks brilliant. I think I might be the main attraction, so let's head over that way. I'm pretty sure this is one of the buildings that I actually walked past last night, but obviously it looked completely different in the dark. Absolutely stunning, isn't it? Let's get a closer look. So this is the House of the Blackheads. This is a perfect representation of the eccentric architecture seen in Riga. Although the most popular architectural style is one from the early 20th century called Art Nouveau, Riga is actually considered to be the best place in the world to see this style of architecture. So after a busy morning sightseeing, I think it's time for lunch. I head to the supermarket, then back to my hostel for a few hours. And just in case you needed further proof of the incredible architecture in Riga, this is what I saw after lunch. I passed these buildings on the way to the Freedom Monument, where I also saw the beautiful canal, which was in the park right next to the old town. This is the impressive Freedom Monument, and then I finished my day off seeing some other cool buildings, such as the Art Academy, National Museum of Art, and National Theatre. So, that wraps up day 1, a very busy day with lots of sightseeing. I'm excited to see what's in store for my next 2 days. Day 2. Alright, so time for day 2 adventure. I think we're going to go and check out the museum since it's raining, so let's go. Okay, so just walking through the main square, absolutely stunning. as it was yesterday, except a little bit quieter with the rain. But I'm heading to the museum, which I had a look in yesterday. It seemed like I had some pretty interesting stuff. But I don't have maps or anything, so I'm just going to try and find it. I don't remember exactly where it is, but I should get there alright. I think it's down this street down here. So right beside the Three Brothers, I find the entrance of the museum. I get in for only €3 as a student. I think it was €6 for adults. If you do visit, I definitely recommend taking the stairs over the lift. It had so much character. It took me up to the 4th floor, which had European art, but honestly, I think I was more impressed by the decoration. And on the 3rd floor was some Egyptian stuff, but unfortunately the room was only small. However, I still find it fascinating seeing mummies in their coffins, called a sarcophagus. There were also some cool Greek and Asian artefacts, but to be honest, I didn't get up to a great deal on the second day. But I can honestly say I was really impressed with Riga so far. Even in the rain, the city looked great. But anyway, I'll show you some of the rest of the stuff I saw on the second day. Day 3. Alright, so it's day 3. It's an absolutely beautiful day. The sun is out, a lot better than yesterday. But I've got 3 things on my list for today. Alright, so first on the list, I'm going to visit the central market. Second on the list, I still need to buy a fridge magnet. Third on the list, apparently there's a shopping mall which has a really nice view from the top. So that is going to be the final task of the day. And then I'm just going to chill out. So come along and join me. So I set off on my final day, and some strange bloke keeps asking me for €1. But I carry on through the streets, heading towards the market by the river. And look what I've found, the crazy local bird lady. Alright, so I've just arrived at Riga Central Market, and there's actually a really bit of interesting history right here. So during the First World War, Latvia was actually under German occupation. The Central Market, which is right behind me now, these buildings were actually used to store German Zeppelins during the First World War. So a pretty cool fact right there. And then during the 1920s, they were converted, and since then they've been used as the marketplace. I carry on into the marketplace and instantly surprised by its size, supposedly the biggest market in Europe. So straight away I go through and there's just so much fish and so many different types. These are always the worst parts about markets, the fish parts always absolutely stink. But in the next bit now, and it's fair to say it smells a little bit better. In the second pavilion, it's full of cheese, baked goods and sweets. And in the third, things like jewellery and clothes. Right, so I've just been through the 3 pavilions and I've came outside and the market's even bigger. I can't believe it. Looks like this is all the good stuff, the fresh fruit and veg. It's what I like. But anyway, I wander through the outside section, see some vegetables I've never seen before, some nice flowers, mountains of cherries, oh, and some nice candles as well. So I was just going for a little wander and I wanted to check out this big building here, and this is the Latvian Academy of Sciences building. It was built after the Second World War. At the time it was the biggest building in Riga and the first skyscraper in Riga as well. So I've learnt that I still don't know how to open doors, but there was also an observation deck at the top. So it was €6, but for an amazing view of the sea, why not? Let's check it out. Alright, so I've just got up to the top and this is the view. I mean, it was €6, but absolutely worth it. Look at that. Absolutely stunning. You can see the bridges on the left there, and right ahead you can see the old town, and right in the centre is the main cathedral. There you get a really good view of the central market there, which I've just saw, where the Zeppelin hangars used to be. And over there in the distance is actually the TV tower, which is the tallest structure in the Baltic states and the 3rd tallest in Europe, which stands at a lovely height of 368 metres. So there we go, best view in Riga right here. So if you do want the best panoramic views, just head to this building, which you can see on the right. Anyway, it's time to say goodbye to the lovely views, and time to resume my hunt for a fridge magnet. So I head back down, ate something which surprisingly wasn't McDonald's, chilled out in the park in the lovely 26 degrees sun. Oh, and look where I ended up again. And the mission for a fridge magnet continues, and I finally think I found one which I liked. And there we go, mission complete. I think I finally found my fridge magnet, and a pretty nice one as well for only €2. but this commemorates what a lovely trip I've had away in Riga. But anyway, that wraps up my extreme budget trip in Riga, Latvia. But I think I've gotten away with only spending about 140 quid for the whole trip, 4 nights, 3 days. Pretty impressive if you ask me. I hope you've had as good of a time as me as I have exploring the wonderful and colourful and interesting streets of Riga. I'll see you next time. See you in a bit. So, the bit you've probably all been waiting for. Now I'm going to be honest, it's unlikely you're going to find many return flights for as cheap as £10. However, you can definitely find some bargains if you use Skyscanner. Alright, so what I do is load up Skyscanner, put the airport in you want to fly from, and then 2, click everywhere. And then on the dates, select whole month. If you want to go any time of year, click cheapest month. If you want to go a specific month, click on that. A list of destinations will come up with some of the cheapest flights across that month or year. You can scroll through the destinations, and if you like the look of a certain one, click on it. A little calendar will come up. Then if you click on your going out date, for example on the 19th it's £7 to fly to Genoa, you'll see that on the return dates it's only £6 on the 22nd. If you click find flights, it'll show you the time of the flights, but also if they're direct or not. So you will have to look around a little bit and browse through the different destinations to see flight times which match up with what you can do. But generally the more flexibility you have, the better. The cheaper flights tend to either be late at night or on weekdays. But it's also worth noting that for airlines like Ryanair, you have to add your baggage on after. So if you want to find some bargain flights, like £10 I paid to go to Riga and back, I'd definitely recommend using Skyscanner. And if you really do want to do a budget trip, I'd recommend staying in a hostel. Hostel World is a great site to use, and you can usually find a place to stay for between 15 and 20 euros a night in a shared room. And if you really want a budget, cut out the restaurants and the fancy food. Supermarkets have always got plenty of fresh and cheap produce. It all just depends on how much you want a budget, but generally less money spent means you can go on more trips. And that's all from me. I hope you did enjoy this budget adventure, but anyway, I'll see you next time.